through a podcast that was featuring Dr. Diane Powell, who is a neuropsychologist that came from Johns Hopkins, and I believe she's at Harvard now. They talk of the tens of thousands of cases of mothers who think, my child can read my mind. But a lot of them don't bring it up because they just think they're crazy, or other people will think they're crazy. But they're not, and it's an incredibly common experience. So on the podcast with Dr. Powell, they set up these experiments with insane controls. They'll take someone like the mother, they'll put them in a room, they'll give them this random number generator, or they'll show them pictures. The other room, a child will be blindfolded. After the mother is shown something, the child will be told that they can take off the blindfold and then they can type into an iPad what they saw. These kids, they never miss. They see through their mother's eyes. They hear what she's thinking. Oh, and if you think that's where it ends, no, we're just getting started. One of the reoccurring things that comes up when they talk to all of these various children, does not matter where they are in the world, they talk about something they call the hill. It is a place where they can all send their consciousness and talk to other children with the same abilities, other people with the same abilities. The podcast talks about a kid from Georgia who was best friends with a kid from Utah, and how they would talk every single day by going to the hill. So many of these children have been able to communicate through letterboards or typing. The podcast teaches you what that is. Here's some of the things that they wish the world would know. Number one, that they know things. They know things that they can teach us, but no one will listen. Another quote that was incredible is they said, in my world, we don't speak, we communicate through our eyes. Another said, audible speakers, us, we only see one side of the story. There's so much to it that we don't know. Let me give you a few more examples. They show examples of extraordinary cases of savantism, like a girl who knows dozens of languages without ever being taught. A boy who can instantaneously solve the most complex math equations because he sees them in colors. Many of the children have photographic memories and can recall complex data because they experience it. They can touch books and immediately know the content. I'm not kidding. So why does this matter? This is Kai Dickens, by the way. Number one, it's going to show you the limitations that you put onto your own consciousness. Number two, it's going to expand your ideas of what consciousness is. And three, when you're done listening, you are going to see what I've been making content about, that we are living in a simulated reality.
Namaste. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Welcome to Cafe Stimulate. Thanks for stopping by and having coffee with me today. Today, I am talking about the subject of telepathy. Now, I touched on this in a previous episode, but this is more about telepathy and autism. And so what I just showed you was a commercial that I just came across a couple of days ago. So this commercial came like after me actually making that video. So you know how the algorithm actually begins to pick up and you start to get this pour down of information. And this actually was a mind-blowing one because it speaks about non-verbal autistic children and telepathy. And so telepathy isn't just for the autistic, it's for everyone. It was found that in these children that they had this ability to communicate with their mothers. And so I found that great because I have a son, and I don't say that he's non-verbal anymore. He's actually saying a lot of, words, so I don't label him as non-verbal. And as mothers who are caring for autistic children, it actually talks about how tapped in they are into our thinking. And I very much believe so because I've already tested this years ago, with my son. He was telepathic because I would do things like think something in my mind, and I'll tell you what I was thinking. I was like, he can be in another room, and I would signal to him through our minds, come give me a hug or come give me a kiss. And it's interesting. It'll probably take about 2 or 3 minutes before we connect, because it's also about you and not being distracted while focusing on sending them the signal. And so I would tune in, and what I would do was I would say the same thing over and over, and I would actually picture myself hugging him. And then he'll eventually, come towards the room, and then he'll come and nudge me or sit on my lap. And I was like, I think, we have a telepathic connection. Now, I've always thought that, but it's very interesting to hear that they're doing research about it and how wonderful and how in-depth this research is. Now, it's called the telepathy tapes. Since I just learned about this a couple of days ago, no, I do not have this, but I'm very interested in getting this podcast information that is done by, the studies were done by this doctor who has studied thousands of autistic and nonverbal children. And in this commercial that I was watching, I was like, wow, what we are doing, in science these days and the things that we are able to research. And what I really want to say today, in the awareness of autism, that there are a lot of parents who are, coming to the understanding that their children are autistic. And what I wanted to say is that it's okay, because this too is part of the process. It's part of your divine curriculum. And I also believe that there is a greater plan, going on that's at play, that a lot of these, you can call it autism or, whatever other types of abilities that are happening that have come to the earth, and they are full of unconditional love, empathy, and compassion. And I actually believe that they are here to help raise the frequency. What I do notice about, autistic beings is that they're not really, tied to all these social constructs that we have built. They're very simple. They only really, care about the people who are around them, and they're just being, the power of just being. They just emanate this light that is so peaceful, and it's so, beautiful and angelic like. My oldest daughter, I found out she was autistic around the age of 3. And as a young mother, I freaked out about it. And, now that I think about it, I was like really obsessed, with her healing. And during that time, I went to every church known to man, looking for, a church that had that healing power that can be able to, heal my daughter. And so, because the Bible spoke so much about, being able to be healed. And I definitely, wanted to find that for my daughter. And what I found was so much more, because with me actually wanting this for her, it pushed me to tap in to a deeper relationship with God. And in my mind, I was just like, if I get this deeper relationship, then maybe I can also get my daughter healed. And I wanted to express this because she is 21 today, and she is amazing. And she is so smart, and she is so, articulate. She's more verbal than actually I am. Okay, like she loves to talk. She loves to have communication. She talks about politics and, things that are happening around the world, everything. And she has no problem with sitting down and, hashing out ideas and things. And she's very, very beautiful and very, very intelligent. I love my daughter. I remember back when she was, had to be about 7 years old, and I was praying over her, and I was praying, for God to heal my baby. And I was doing, one of them holy roller. I do speak in tongue, and over my daughter, and I was really praying it down because I was gonna, make this happen. And my daughter, with her hands up, because I had my hands on her head, and then she had her hands up, she was praying, and she goes, "I am healed." I stopped, I looked at her, and she was like, "Yeah," she said, "I am healed." And you know what? I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and accept it. And at that time, I believe, I believe she was healed way before then. God has always, had his hand on Layla, and Layla has been such a joy. And I knew that, this experience was meant for me, because if this had never happened to me, I would have been like anybody else. I would believe, be one of those surface believers like anybody else, just go to church, sit down, I'm saved, and pay my tithes and get up and go. And my understanding of, spirituality would be just as much as that. But I believe had this not happened, I wouldn't be as deep into the relationship I am with God as I am now. I don't think I would. I think I would have a very surface level relationship with God. And so you have to understand that everything in this life is spirit, and that everything is doing something within you. And loving my daughter has made me, he was like, "Why are you so, sensitive emotionally, and why are you so, empathic, or why are you, because all of those things, all that I've encountered in my life have created me to be this person, this being that I am. So even your children have purpose. I know you want to think that certain things are an accident. Everything has its purpose. And in this commercial about the telepathy, it says that, they're connected to your thoughts. And I also heard something a long time ago, which really resonated with me, that your parents have more control, over, you as a child energetically than anybody, which is true. Because we pour into our children energetically. And the things that we say, the thoughts that we think, we pour into them. So we have the ability to pour healing into them more than anybody, any doctor, around, just by the energy that we share with them. And so I see today that a lot of people, are kind of embarrassed of their children having autism. And I wanted to tell you, as a mother today, to not do that. They are here on this in this world, and they have a purpose. And even if their purpose is being under you, the parents, and what they are bringing out in you, and the most healing that they are going to get is going to come through you, what you think of them. Your energetic exchange, you're exchanging energy, you're sharing, for a time, these energies, then wanting them to grow stronger and to learn and things like that. And another part of that is also being accepting. And what I mean by accepting, I mean accepting the challenge that's been placed before you. I know a lot of situations that different parents have, because people think of autism, and I've heard this. There was like, if you met one person with autism, you just met one person with autism. All autistic, the children are not the same, and you can't put them all on equal, the scale, because there's so many ranges and so many abilities that they have. And so accepting me is more like, you're the one for the job that's going to, pour into them and strengthen them, because I wanted to talk about this in another episode, how we don't, when we're giving these energetic exchanges, we don't want anybody's sympathy, because it's like those are like lower types of frequencies or emotions. We want to offer people, faith and strength and something of power, of high frequency. We don't ever, want to offer some, the lower frequency, oh, I feel sorry for you type of energy. So we always want to offer people, our strength, because that's what, people need at the time. Offer that hope, that things are going to work out for your good, and for the expansion of your soul. And another thing is too, not caring what other people think. That is a whole nother episode of its own, because this world, people are so terrified of what other people may think of them. Your child has autism, then you must be autistic too. Okay, so you know what? That's my child. Okay, I'll take that. I will. I really don't give a damn. But and I'm going to love them, to the fullest. It's not your fault that, they are who God has allowed them in this world to be. He's created them with great purpose. If they only come, this is not even about autism itself. This is about anyone who has a child. And I don't want to say disabled, because that also takes away, from them, because they still are souls with many abilities. So not disabilities, they have many abilities that we also have to become knowledgeable, of, so that we can help them. Whether you have a child that is blind, whether you have a child, that, amputee, or whatever that they are going through, they are here to grow and evolve also. Real quick story. Years ago on YouTube, there was a story about a Native American man, and they did tour guides. And this Native American tour guide, it was him and another guy that was driving people around and showing them different, spots, different spiritual Native American spots. And at the end of the tour, he would ask people, how they liked their ride. And, they would say that it was fine. And he would, he would tell them, he was like, well, the guy that's behind the wheel, he's actually blind. And they was like, what? And actually, this guy was tapped into his consciousness so deeply that he was able to see through the eyes of the spirit. It gave him the layout. Isn't that crazy? I searched everywhere so I could repost this or whatever. But I haven't found it yet. But it was an interesting story of what can happen, when we begin to, tap in. You'll find out that even with things that are happening within us, whatever God is doing, He's amplifying, us in the spirit. One lifetime, one may lose their sight, or they may not have their hearing, but know that what's going on in the spirit, they are definitely working on something that is bringing us out. What I've learned about having, autistic children was that as a parent, you learn to tap in so many ways that it's, that is not verbal. So, you learn how to read them, read their body language, read what they're trying to say and what they are not saying. You look at their moods. You look at everything that's about them. You really hone in, okay? You tune into some things, and then you actually turn around after being so locked in and tuned into these things, and then you go out into the world and you're able to energy read people. You're able to read the thing between what they're saying and then what they are not saying, and you're looking at body language and all these different things. And so everything that you are encountering is all coming together in who you are to be, who you are becoming. And one thing I also seen that, it's about compassion. And I don't think if I had my children, I don't think I would be, I've always been a compassionate person, but I wouldn't be as deeply compassionate as I am now. For example, like, I don't want to tie who I am to a Capricorn, to a sign or something like that or whatever. But, I have my times where I can be, cut off and be a little cold because I love my solitude, and the world hasn't been exactly, just, soft when it comes to people. It's been pretty rough, okay? And so there have been times that I've been like more, closed off. And, I have my times when I am, extroverted, but mostly I'm introverted. And it's interesting how God is always trying to pull me out of that and pull me out. But every time I come out into the world, you peek out. There's always some BS going on. It makes you want to scurry back in the house. So I want to just highlight that each experience that we have, everything that we are blessed with to come into our lives, because I always watch things on TV like for Jude's Hospital, which I really hope, people, if they can, donate to, so the parents who are going through things can, actually sit back and just, help their child to heal without all the pressures of bills and life and things like that. I really do appreciate, what they do. And even with the experiences of, children going through things, the whole interaction of just the being is like, everybody is going to have a lifetime or lifetimes as a caregiver. Now, all of this is important especially when I was talking about a couple of episodes back about your godhood or, your angelic being. Yes, we are here to work on ourselves and to, really cultivate our being. But there's a polarity in that. It's that half where it is about us, and there's that half where it's about others. Because the divine, you can't become a divine without that if you have no care for other beings. That's what the whole angelic part is about. If you don't have a heart for others, then there's no there is a use, but we're talking about higher purpose, higher use. Okay, if you're just selfish and for yourself, then you might as well stay down here till you decide to become a more compassionate being.
The Bible said, I'll make your enemies your footstool. So if you choose not to be, then you will be used to elevate the ones who are wanting to become and wanting to be. Your energy will not be going to waste, okay?
And I don't care what you heard. You don't get to go to hell. There's no rest for the wicked. You're going to get your ass up and empower these light beings out here so they can become great, so they can go off to do what they're supposed to do. That's what you're going to do. You don't get to go to hell. That's too easy. No, you're going to be used because that's what you want to be. Okay? You want to act ignorant? You want to run around here trying to cause everybody to fall and you want to be the evil being and snicker and play behind the scenes? Yeah, that's what you're going to get to do. No, there's no rest for the wicked. You don't get to go to this hell. Earth is hell. Or it could be your paradise. Depends on the state of being of a person.
Okay. So I think that was one of the things too that got it's the story of Lucifer that got him kicked out because he didn't want to help the humans, which are a little lower than the angels, at their time, because they're in development. He didn't want to help. He just wanted them to serve them, and that's not what being of higher consciousness is about, because all of this scatteredness at the bottom of this, it was supposed to be like leading to oneness. And that's the whole part of the pyramid also, where you see the pyramid has all its sides and it's wide at the bottom, but at the top it comes to one point. Yes, it all leads to oneness. And actually us being of one consciousness and us really being each other's fuel. There's a song that also that is coming to my mind right now, and it goes I think it's by Kirk Franklin. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, I'm not sure. It goes I need you, you need me, we're all a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me, I love you, I need you to survive. It is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me, I need you to survive. Yes. Now, I wasn't expecting to sing today, but that song came upon my heart, and I went ahead and put it out anyway. But it was very important. I need you to survive, because we all need each other. When it comes down to the wisdom, because there has been a great pouring down of information and wisdom, over the years, as you are seeing now. But it's not one person has everything. But it's meant to be that way. It's meant to be that way so that we use each other to connect all the pieces, of the puzzle. There would never be no one person on earth who has all knowing. That's source itself. It's all knowing. But all of us need each other to survive. And so I'm saying that in a way because we all brothers and sisters, and that's why we have to break through all these different lenses of perception that the world keeps putting on us. And these are what we call the layers, that we keep on trying to take off. The more layers that we take off, like, for instance, let's say you had like a bunch of coats on, layers and layers of coats. The more that you take off, guess what? The lighter you get. And that's interesting in itself, because that's what we're supposed to be doing in all aspects of the word light. That's what we are to become. So you think of light as being heavy and light, right? So we're taking off layers of all these different perceptions, that the things that keep us separated, to become lighter as a being. And so we take off all these harsh judgments and criticisms that we have of others. We take all those off, and we understand that each being is being led, to source, to oneness. But you have to understand that they are on their level of understanding. They're on their own personal journey. They will eventually, move towards to where they are led to go in, God's timing. There's a scripture where it says, do not judge, because you'll be judged also by the same measure. Even though, we can have a thought about something, we're never supposed to be so deep about something that the judgment actually becomes like a hatred towards somebody, because we are loving beings. We just have an understanding that's how they operate. But we don't never go so far with our judgments that our judgments begin to change us. If you understand what I'm saying, like your judgments change your frequency. Let's say if I hate somebody because of their color, and I have like a real dislike for somebody of this color, like that keeps you in like a low frequency. And on top of that, your hate brings you more karma, because eventually what you hate, you will become, so that you can experience the other polarity, the other side of the thing in which you hate it, so that your soul can change towards, that perception that you put on yourself. So, yes. But okay, I'm getting off. Let me get back on. So, yeah, we just need to understand that everything that is before us is, this is a thing I've said a long time ago before people made it a thing. I've been saying this since at least 2013, that, it's not happening to us, it's happening for us. But in a way, things are happening to us, but it's for our growth. Or we're here as energetic beings to learn how to transfer also our energy. We're also supposed to take this situation and see and alchemize it, because you have a part where a doctor will say that, oh, well, your child or your person would never be able to do this. They would never be able to do that. But through your belief and through your energetic, love exchange for whether it's a person or your child or whomever, you see that, you visualize that change, you have faith in that change to see them go, go further than what anybody believed that they would go. For some reason, I'm coming up with the thought of Doctor Strange, which I love that movie, when Doctor Strange always hits the scene when they have him in the Marvel movies. So it makes it that much more great. But they told him, because he messed up his hands, he would never be able to use his hands, again to do surgery. And then he went out to look for, a way to heal, himself and his condition. And it was this part when they was at, I don't know what to call it, don't call it like a dojo or something, where these monks were teaching them how to do like this sacred magic. And he was like, well, I can't do it. It's my hands. And the lady, she was just like, no, it's not your hands. It's you. And so she pulled out another master, and he was missing his hands. And he was able to perform, the magic just fine, because it had to be an inner belief, in himself that he was worthy and he was able to do it. So that's the same thing as us, as parents to our children. We have to really believe in them, and we have to make them feel, like we believe in them. Energy exchange is important, and I kind of hope that people will stop hiding, their children, just because, they have something. Yeah, people always open their mouth and have something to say. But what those people don't understand, God will make them understand. You believe me, I've seen this in real life. People open their mouth about something. Oh, well, autism, and then next thing they actually have a child, who is autistic. And then they come back with awareness and understanding. See, God has a way of helping people to understand. And I didn't want to say that in a way like that was a punishment. No, it's not a punishment. It's helping cultivate things in a person, like unconditional love and patience and compassion. And we all can use a little bit more compassion. You see, these autistic children growing into adults, and they're out there doing amazing things. And it's just a wonderful thing to see. What I wanted to end this off with today is that in your families, if you do have, children who have different type of, abilities, you do have a lot of power in their healing process.
As parents, we also have this ability to tune in to their spiritual gifts. I know sometimes we tend to focus on, what they are not able to do instead of, putting more emphasis on what they are able to do. And we'll be surprised to find out that they are tapped in so many ways. So if you're a parent or a caregiver that's presented with this opportunity in this life, try not to see it as a punishment, but as an entrance, into a higher level of awareness.
If you are feeling like you dropped the ball and somehow, or if something was your fault, there's a story of Jesus, and they asked Jesus a question about there were a set of parents, and they said, who of the parents have sinned so that this child, came out blind? And Jesus replied, he was like, neither one sinned. He was just like, it's just because, the glory of God is going to be seen, through this person. And to me, that meant, like, as we grow, as spirit into spirit, this being, God is going to create in him this glory of who he is to be. So this life is only a chapter in your book of life. It's just a learning experience. And everybody that voluntarily loves God is lovingly, as a loving father, is going to bring them, into his glory. He's going to mold you into the being you're supposed to be. You're going to be very strong. You're going to be very wise. You're going to be very connected in the spirit, because you are spirit. And so these situations that we go through, they bring out something in us each time. Either if it's something good or bad, no matter what it is, it all contributes to, our being. And I think I'm going to end it right there. Thanks for stopping by and having coffee with me today. I hope you have an amazing day, and Ashe. Thanks for stopping in. If you would like to contact me, email me at cafestimulate@outlook.com. Thanks again. Bye.